Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the best build in the Outer Worlds 2 for the early to mid game. Now we can't max out every skill, but certain skills are much more impactful than others, which we'll be breaking down in this video. Now there's an important flaw we want to get really early on, and that is the easily distracted. It sounds like a flaw, but it really isn't, because it gives you an additional skill point, so it takes you from 2 to 3. We want to get this as early as possible, and the way that we get that is by investing in more than 5 skills, and we have to reach level 4, so you can get this at level 4. But I'll be breaking down the best skills to invest in and the best ways to go about making your character. And from my testing, I think the 5 most impactful skills will be either guns or melee or explosives, depending on what I find explosives a little bit weaker, but guns personally. And then we're going to want to add in lockpick. This game has a lot of locks to pick, so we want to be able to do that alongside engineering, hack, and speech. Now, science is nice, leadership is okay. Our companions will go down often. This prevents that from happening. But the dialogue options you get from leadership, you're likely going to get from speech, so it's better to just go with this skill. Now, the first choice we have to make when creating our character is our background, and there's a few great choices. Now, the professor makes a lot of sense here. This game is focused around science, so this has the most dialogue options from the choices here because the game is kind of wrapped up in all the stuff that you would have experienced with this background. Now, I also think that the gambler is a great choice. This is more so for roleplay. It just gives you a few different dialogue options. It doesn't matter a great deal. I like the roastabout here, which just feels like it's you're a character that doesn't know what's going on. There's some funny dialogue options, but I feel very detached from the plot. So my recommendations would be the professor, gambler, and lawbringer's pretty cool if you want to be like a space pirate, cowboy lawbringer type deal. So yeah, I would say these 3 are the best choices. Renegade can be kind of cool too, but I won't roast about it and say I don't really love it. I would have rathered the other choices with the dialogue that they give. Now, as for traits, I really like the lucky. Giving a critical hit chance is extremely useful, and it opens up some abilities in the game that are just nice to have. I'd highly recommend grabbing this, but not a huge deal if you're playing the game without it. I also like to have the witty here. Your reputation cannot go below neutral, although with this, you can have to take a negative trait here. So something like the abrasive, making it so you can't go above the neutral. So you get stuck at neutral with everyone. This kind of works if you want to go this route, but I think just lucky is nice as well. You could go with the innovative there to be able to craft, or the brilliant to get additional skill points, but again, you do have to come with a negative trait, so I don't recommend that. Lucky is just fine. And for the skills that we'll be preparing at first, I think it's great to go with guns, but again, you can go with either the explosives or the melee weapons if you prefer that. I also like to start with locks picking, because this is something that's going to be useful throughout the entire game, although you could also go with the speech skill. Now, I haven't picked stealth, and I've never had issues with stealth, so that's something that you can probably just avoid. Although hack is really nice to have alongside engineering. So those are 2 other good choices, but I find guns and lockpick to be the best 2 at the start, with speech coming very close, because this opens up a lot of new dialogue options, which change how the game progresses, and you get different experience for using those dialogue options. Now again, our first order of business is getting this easily distracted as early as possible, because that means you're going to be able to get your skills up higher. And what works out great is we only really need 5 skills or so this actually works out very nice. So my recommendation is if you started with I went with guns and speech for this setup here. I found these worked very well to start with higher, and then you would want to put a few points in lockpick, because this is one of the most impactful skills in the game. So priority is guns. If you find you're not struggling with fights, you don't have to invest in the guns as quickly, because I find that investing in lockpicks is a little bit better. Getting to places, opening up doors, and all that is very important, something we want to have. And engineering as well, because there are a few different areas where engineering does come in handy, similar to the lockpick. So those 2 kind of go hand in hand alongside the hack. These 3 are our main ones, just for opening up new contents to make sure we don't miss out on anything. So this one's good, really, just to be a jack of all trades with these 3 here. Now, I think the next choice, as I mentioned, the big 5 is those 3 there, guns and speech. Now, speech is really important. There's a point in the game, I'm not going to mention where, I don't want to spoil anything, but you need at least 5 points into your speech at around the middle point of the game. And there's a big lead up if you want to get a specific ending. So I'd highly recommend getting your speech up to 5 as quickly as possible, just so that you're not missing on any content. It's also good to get your speech up higher, because there's a lot of options that you'll be able to now select by having that stat. And the worst part about leadership is that, and actually that moment where you need the 5 speech, you could also get by with 5 leadership, but there's a downside to having it that way. So it's kind of like you're investing in both these stats for nothing. This does boost up your companion's damage by 40% if you got 5 points into it, and 20% extra companion health. Now, I just want to mention some companions go down often. I'm not sure about you guys, but unless you're taking any of the perks that makes the enemies aggro onto you over your teammates, they're going to go down very quickly. They're just kind of mean shield. So I didn't find this to be a good skill to go with. And same thing here with the science. I took both these feats or skills, and I kind of regret taking them. I wish I would have stuck with just these core 5. This one will give you more gadget speed, And there's actually a cool trick I want to show you guys here alongside this, and you also can get more stacks of non-physical damage type side effects. Now, the best thing about the slowing down time ability is when you go into this, it doesn't drain fast unless you shoot. So what you can do is like get yourself set up to aim at somebody and then go out of that move and go fire away. And then you can use that again to get away. So that's kind of my recommendation, to use that without burning through, because the moment you shoot a gun, it's going to burn through quickly and then you can recover pretty fast. Now, that just seems to be the best way to use it in combat if you need to get away. And there's also a few different moments in the game where you're going to have to use this to explore. But I do regret putting more points into science when I could have gotten my, like, because with the only downside to getting this easily distracted is you can't put any of your skills above your highest one. You can put into another point into like your sneak or something, but for my testing, it's actually best not to. We want to stick to as little skills as possible and then bring one up at the very end if we want something else added into the build. Max level's 30. I'm at around level 10 right now, or 12. So this is where my stats are sitting at. But getting your guns up, sneak, lock, or no sneak, we'll be getting guns, lockpick, engineering, hack, and speech as our core 5. Now, as for perks, there's actually a lot of them that are really good. Point blank artist is extremely powerful, so damage with shotguns, SMGs, and pistols is increased against targets within 10 meters, but less above that distance. These weapons also get increased sneak attack damage. Now, as I mentioned, you don't really need any points in sneak to get crazy damage. This gives 100% extra sneak attack damage and plus 30% damage to your enemies. You're likely going to be close to enemies anyway, so take that flat out damage boost. I'd also recommend grabbing commando as early as possible. This gives you another weapon slot. It's nice just to have another additional ammunition type, or have a backup melee weapon just in times where you don't have any other types of ammo available. This one requires one gun, so we both have this pretty early on. Another one that I've been using that's extremely useful, and it doesn't sound like it at first, is Trophy Hunter. So you gain critical hit chance with all weapons against all enemies. This is increased against strong enemies, such as leaders and bosses that aren't heavily damaged. So we get a 15% bonus critical hit chance against strong enemies, bringing that up to a plus 20% total. It's actually really good. So bosses, you'll be hitting every 1 in 5 as a critical hit pretty much with this. It's really good. Now, restricted access has been okay. Getting restricted inventory of vending machines does open up some really nice things that you can buff your weapons with. So it's an okay choice. I'd pick others first. I really like the deep drums here. So machine guns, special weapons, and assault rifles slowly reload automatically. This is nice because this just lets you, if you shot a few rounds off, your gun's just reloaded, but you get 50% increased magazine size. So if something's got 100 bullets now is 150. It's actually really good and works with every gun type. So very effective. And we also get the gun runner. I like this one here. So you can now fire while sliding, mantling, and sprinting with assault rifles, shotguns, and SMGs. So making them function somewhat similar to pistols, which gives them a lot more combat effectiveness. And the spread of these weapons was reduced by 50%. So actually a pretty big buff. You do need your guns to be up to 4 to get this perk. Now, another good one is the bullet shield. This one I mentioned, if you want to keep your teammates alive, this will make the enemies shoot at you more. I didn't really like this, to be honest, but it's there. It's actually pretty good in certain instances. There's also the psychopath feed. This opens up new abilities, especially with a certain teammate. So you can go with this one if you really wanted to. It just depends on your role play and way you want to go about your character. Now, if you end up taking a point in observation, this one can be good because this will boost up your sniper damage quite a bit, but you need that observation point. Serendipitous Slayer is also a great choice because you'll get an increased critical hit chance even further, boosting our damage. And then also we get the ability to replenish our ammunition whenever that happens. And then you can also take the Crabble Rancher, which give you a further increased critical hit chance. So then again, we're replenishing bullets. Now, ricochet builds are really popular in a lot of games right now. You do need another observation point to get trick shot, but that's another good choice. And once you get your speech up to 6, the Charlatan's really great because this makes it so that our lies and different dialogue options are more likely to be successful. And then you can go ahead with the Tall Tale Teller, which gives you even further dialogue options, but also deals extra damage, 20% to enemies that aren't targeting you, which is great if you didn't take the one that makes them target you. As far as our equipment goes, I liked medium armor. It's personal preference here. I just found this works a little bit better. You can swap it around depending on what mods you get and what armor you pick up. It's really just the best that you can get available. I would recommend grabbing something and putting the extra holster on here, as you can see on the right-hand side. This item here, I just like the drip of the hat. But this gives an extra weapon slot so we can then equip 4 weapons. Now, depending on where you're at in the game, you're going to get different weapons. I personally like the Chain Spark Cannon. This has been my favorite because it chains around to multiple enemies. The Simplifier is a pretty good sniper rifle. You do get this a little bit later. Any type of knives that you can get as a backup are pretty good. The Oracle, also really good. You get this from a quest, and it's a high damage assault rifle. I also like the Zyraniator. This is from a merchant in the mid-game. This is a fast-firing pistol. So here's the pistol. It shoots in a 3-round burst. It has a huge magazine, really good at close range. Here is the Oracle assault rifle shooting a 2-round burst, pretty high damage as well. Here's the sniper rifle. I like the iron sights on that, or the scope on that is really effective. And then this is my favorite gun as mentioned, the electrical rifle, chaining around to multiple enemies. So yeah, chain spark cannon is pretty nuts. Your companion choice is personal preference. Niles is nice to have around. Really, any of them, it's your really call. I go with Inez and Marisol. I think it's kind of funny having both of them in the party at the same time with her surgical strike here, which lets her stun and also target a weak spot with her attack. And then also here, getting the crude biomass for crafting whenever you use food with her works well too. And now for Marisol, I really like her combat analyzer, which will allow you to get additional effects when you attack a target. You could knock them down if you shoot the legs, stun them if you hit the head, or make them bleed. The stun is really good. And then also the disperse glare makes it so you can hit multiple targets with her ability there. This one can give you gadget energy back when you hit those targets, but I found this one to work a little bit better. So there is the best build for the Outer Worlds 2 in the early to mid game. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you found this video useful. I hope you have a great day, and we'll catch y'all in the next one.